Five Good Friends. Burmese folktale. Once upon a time, there lived 5 brothers. The eldest brother was stronger and more experienced than the others. His name was Strongman. He was short, stocky, and sturdy, which is why he got that name. The second brother was called Fighter because he always challenged others to wrestle. The third brother was named Tallest of All because he was taller than all the other brothers. The fourth brother was called Treasurer because he was careful, cautious, and thrifty. The fifth brother was named Little One because he was the smallest in size. The brothers were very close friends, and for that, they were called the 5 Good Friends. The 5 good friends traveled the world for a long time and performed many heroic deeds. One day, they reached a large city ruled by a cruel and greedy king. Then Strongman said, "If we keep wandering forever, we'll gain neither glory nor honor. Let's do something good, free the city from its cruel king, and the people will forever praise our names." The brothers agreed, and the 5 good friends came to the golden gates of the city. Then Fighter stepped forward and challenged the king to a fight. A fierce battle began. The 5 good friends fought against the king and his army. In this battle, Tallest of All stood out the most. But defeating the enemy was difficult. Then Little One secretly slipped into the city and opened the gates for his brothers. The cruel king was defeated, and the city was freed. Then the 5 good friends began to discuss who should rule the city. The younger brothers said that Strongman should be the ruler because he was their leader, older, and more experienced. But Strongman refused. He said Fighter should rule because he challenged the king and started the battle. But Fighter refused. He said Tallest of All should rule because he fought the bravest and brought them victory. But Tallest of All refused as well. He said there were too many treasures in the city. He couldn't count them all. So the treasurer should rule. But Treasurer also refused. He said Little One should rule because although he was the smallest, he was quick and clever. After all, it was he who opened the city gates for them. However, Little One said he was too young and weak to be a good ruler. So the 5 good friends argued for a long time, and finally decided, "We will rule the city together. None of us could have freed the city alone. And none of us could rule it alone either. But if we stay together, we can do anything." And that's what they did. And there were no better rulers in the whole world than the 5 good friends. Now, little friend, take a look at your own hand. You have 5 good friends there too, ready to help you. Look, your thumb is Strongman, strong and sturdy. Your index finger is Fighter. Your middle finger is Tallest of All, it's really the longest. Your ring finger is Treasurer, because adults wear rings on it. And your pinky is Little One, small and funny. So you see, you also have 5 good friends, always ready to help you, my little friend. And they will help you find happiness when you grow up. 2 Baskets of Foolishness. Japanese folktale. Long, long ago, there was a boy who was quite foolish. His parents were worried and said, "Greater than, he can't do anything properly. If something happens to us, how will he live?" They thought for a long time about what trade to teach him, and finally decided that he should try selling goods door to door. It wasn't difficult, he just needed strong shoulders and a loud voice. They gave him chestnuts and said, "Greater than, here are some chestnuts to try selling. Walk around the whole town." So the foolish boy walked through the town with a carrying pole on his shoulders, shouting, "Greater than, chestnuts for tasting. Chestnuts for tasting for the whole town." All the children gathered at his call. They ate up all the chestnuts in no time, and the boy was delighted. He thought he'd sold his goods very quickly. When he got home, happily smiling, his parents asked, "Greater than, where's the money?" "Greater than, money? Was I supposed to take money? You told me to let everyone taste the chestnuts." His parents were saddened and explained how selling door to door actually worked. The next morning they filled 2 baskets with different items: chestnuts, tea, and several measures of millet. The boy spent the whole day walking through town and didn't sell a single thing. He came home crying, "Greater than, nobody bought anything. They just laughed at me, no matter how loudly I shouted. I was yelling so much my ears were ringing." His parents asked, "Greater than, how were you calling out your goods?" The boy showed them, "Greater than, like this. Chest tea millet tea onions tea millet." "Greater than, oh, you foolish child," they scolded. "You must shout clearly, separating each word. You mixed it all up like flour and water. Chestnuts aren't tea, and tea isn't millet." So the boy went out again. He was gone all day and returned in the evening, crying again, "Greater than, everyone in this town is foolish. They laugh and don't know why. I sold nothing the whole day." "Greater than, you must have shouted it wrong again," said his parents. "Greater than, no, I didn't. I did exactly what you said. Listen, chestnuts are not tea. Millet is not chestnuts. Tea is not millet. I said it separately." "Greater than, oh, you silly boy," they sighed. "Just shout 3 words and nothing more: tea, chestnuts, millet. And shout slowly and clearly so everyone can understand." The next day he went out again and shouted slowly, with pauses, "Greater than, tea chestnuts millet." But soon his tongue got twisted and it came out like, "Greater than, the seagull wants pants. The seagull wants pants." And just at that moment, another vendor walked behind him shouting, "Greater than, pans for sale. Good pans." The foolish boy got completely confused. "Greater than, the seagull wants pants. The seagull wants pants. Pans and pans. The seagull wants pants and the magpie wants vodka." People on the street burst out laughing. No one bought anything from either of them. The other vendor got angry because the boy ruined his business, so he hit him. The boy came home crying, "Greater than, not only did I not sell anything, but they beat me too." His parents thought long about what to do and finally came up with an idea. They decided to give him something very simple to sell: peas. Nothing could be easier. They poured several measures of peas into his baskets. So he walked through town shouting, "Greater than, peas, peas. Good peas. Peas for a penny, fresh and ready. Buy a pile of peas for a penny." People laughed and held their sides. Then, out of the next alley came another vendor with baskets. He was shouting, "Greater than, pots. Who wants pots? Good pots for sale." Once again, the foolish boy got confused. Everything got mixed up in his head, and he started shouting, greater than peas, peas. Good peas. Pots, good pots. Peas roll, pots fall. Peas get crushed, pots get smashed. Bitter peas, pots fall from a hill. The pot vendor stopped to listen, tripped, and dropped all his pots, shattering them to pieces. The foolish boy stared with his mouth open. Greater than, oh no, what a disaster! You've really broken me. The pot vendor got angry and hit the boy with the carrying pole. The boy returned home in tears. Greater than, I told you. There are only fools in this town. The passers-by laugh and the vendors fight. His parents just sighed. Greater than, people are right when they say, there's no cure for foolishness. Bread and Gold, Arabian folktale. A boss was a poor fella. Fella means peasant. He worked all day long to provide food for himself and his family, and in his spare moments, he dreamed of finding a treasure that would free him from hardship. One very hot day, a boss, as usual, was working in the field. Feeling very tired, he sat down under a tree and began to dream. Greater than, if only Allah granted me a magic power, that everything I touched would turn into gold, then I would be free of this hard labor and live in complete comfort. Suddenly he heard a voice, greater than, O Abbas! You shall receive what you desire. Touch any object with your hand, and it will immediately turn into pure gold. Abbas could hardly believe his ears. But he reached down, picked up a small stone, and the moment he touched it, the stone turned into pure gold. Then he touched another stone, it too became gold. Abbas was overjoyed and thought, greater than, now I'll go to the city and turn dust and stones into gold. Then I'll buy lots of land, build a palace by the river, and surround it with a vast garden. I'll buy beautiful horses and dress in magnificent clothes. He wanted to get up, but suddenly felt very tired, hungry, and thirsty. He realized he couldn't walk any further. Greater than, I'll eat the food I brought this morning, he thought. He reached for the small bag lying next to him. Abbas picked up a piece of bread, but as soon as it touched his mouth, it turned to metal. The bread had become gold. There was still an onion in the bag. Abbas grabbed it quickly, but to his shock, the onion also became a solid golden lump he could not eat. Abbas was terrified. Greater than, how will I eat or drink now? How can I live in a world where everything turns to gold? I'll starve and suffer, even though I have all this gold that I don't even know how to use. So he thought, imagining himself suffering from hunger and thirst, unable to touch anything without turning it to gold. Just then, he opened his eyes and found himself lying in the shade of the tree. It had all been a dream. He took a deep breath of relief. It felt like a heavy weight had been lifted from his shoulders. Greater than, praise be to Allah that it was only a dream, he said.